course, you know that because you're already on this channel. I am joined tonight by Noel in the TARDIS Zone. Hello, Noel.
Hello.
And the great, the one and only, the wonderful Bolstrek.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing on this fine
Saturday?
Saturday?
Has never had a strange relationship with animals.
No, he hasn't.
I just dropped out there for a second. Sorry, guys, I'm back.
We were just saying, we just mentioned about the crap that's been going on. There's people out there slandering Bolstrek at the moment. Obviously, people have seen I'm getting it as well. But what's been said about Bolstrek is absolutely a bang out of order. And the person gloating about it. But the smile, all I'll just say is smile be wiped out your face because you've just admitted that you've committed a crime. So I don't know how but they did. This is the thing, Rabbi. They actually admitted that they were the ones behind it. So they admitted they committed a crime. And, you know, to you, it might be just words or you do it to get a reaction out of people. But what they did was bang out of order. I've been called a paedophile. Someone said that they actually were having an affair with my wife, but even though my wife is with me 24/7. But you know, this is the kind of thing that's been going on the last couple of days. But we're not here for that.
No.
We're here for Picard.
We're here for Picard, which is a far less interesting subject than being abused on Twitter.
Yeah.
My basic feelings about Picard is just if I didn't have a channel, I would be out by now. It's not awful. It's not wonderful. It's kind of stupid, but it's mainly dull. That's more than anything else. I think it's dull. What do you guys think? What's your both 2-minute overview of it so far?
I'll let you go first, Noel.
All right. Well, I said to you off air, it doesn't feel like part of the Trek universe. There's something about it. It's off. Even Picard, even Patrick Stewart seems a bit off. Like, you're right, nothing really happens, and then we get a bit of a fight scene. We get a couple of fight scenes in the first episode, and it's like, that's it. The rest is all talking. We figure out. Do you want me to start going into details, or do you just want to give me
Let's start with overview, and then we'll drill down to it as we go along.
Right. Well, right. Just an overview. For me, I just found the Borden. It's not anything spectacular. Oh yeah, and they have it. All I'll just say is that I've never heard bad language in Star Trek before in my life. Maybe I've overlooked the episodes where it might have happened in the past, but I've never heard someone use bad language before.
I think Discovery was the first time it happened.
Was it? But
yeah.
I mean, I watched the first 5 episodes of Discovery, the 4th series, and I gave up. I mean, and I am a huge fan. Like that show was ridiculous. This lens flares. What can I say? This is basically Bad Robot.
Yeah, it did. But I tell you, in terms of Discovery, it's worth watching season 2 because it's so incredibly awful. It's the dumbest show I've ever seen. Really, they forget plot points, not from episode to episode, but from scene to scene, and not just minor plot points, serious plot points. And you're getting you get the feeling they had that with Picard, but they realized how reviled Discovery was, and they kind of like brought somebody in. Maybe who could write and think things through. But still, it's not good. It's just not as excruciatingly awful as Discovery Season 2. The dumbest show I've ever seen.
I'm confused about a few things that happened in the first 2 episodes. Anyway,
go ahead.
We'll go in. Well, you said you didn't want to go into detail. Yeah, I'll let Bolstrek say the overview, and then we'll get into detail. But there's a few things in this series that's already confused me, like and the way he's portrayed in this, and the way he's treated in this in the story so far, I'm not liking it. It's like Patrick Stewart is trying to grab onto the probably one of the greatest roles that he played. Let's be honest, that's what it is, and it comes across as that. To be honest, it's like he knows he's near the end. That's no disrespect to Patrick Stewart, and he wants to go out on a high. This isn't the high to go out on, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I hope for him because they backed like a truckload of cash into his living room.
Yeah, it's flat. It's flat.
Literally.
Right.
Go ahead, Bolstrek, because I just think it's flat. It's not like Doctor Who where things make you go absolutely crazy, but I do agree with Rabbi. This is dumb. There's a few things in it that are actually quite impressive, but I mean, we'll get into detail in a minute, but because I'm only fresh, I only watched the second episode literally as we came on, so it's still fresh in the head. But there's some things I'm not.
Well,
so Bowles, what do you think?
oh lordy. Okay, so it's not as bad as Discovery, but that is because Discovery is the worst thing infused on science fiction audiences since the 13th Doctor. But there are some major issues with this show. The first one would be, now Patrick Stewart is a brilliant actor, but you get the impression, and he gives the best performance we've had in several years on Star Trek, but that doesn't say much. But you could tell he's not really into it, especially when we get into the second episode. The episodes themselves, they're dull. And as we know, especially the first 6 episodes were subjected to heavy reshoots, and the episode count was lessened. So we're looking at things that were mishmashed together, which is why it doesn't cohesively flow together. But the biggest problem is what it does to canon. Because if you look at the Federation everywhere, Star Trek from 1963 up until 2005, you look at Starfleet, you look at humans in the universe, it was supposed to be, Gene Roddenberry originally envisioned it as being a message of hope. So humanity had evolved. So things that we know today, like racism, sexism, things like that, were no longer a thing. And even when Star Trek has gone dark in the past, which would be Deep Space Nine and the 3rd season of Enterprise, the Federation and Starfleet were still this noble force.
Right.
So
exactly.
what we're seeing in Picard is a regression of that, and we're only 20 years removed from the events of Nemesis, which unfortunately was the send-off that we had for real Star Trek. But in this iteration, the Federation is portrayed as, well, the Federation is Trump, basically, because modern year.
Oh, the Federation is cold. They let the Romulans fucking...
Well, that's
the biggest major problem I have. Like, what the hell happened to Federation in 20 bloody years? Like, how could it go from what the ideals that I had to the ideals that it has actually now? I just didn't get that. That made no sense to me whatsoever, to be honest with you. And in this iteration, obviously androids are obviously the enemy, if I'm right, or synthetics or whatever you want to bloody call them. But that's the biggest thing that annoyed me. And then the Admiral then tells Picard to basically go and F himself, and I'm like,
like, well, I think the difference is this, that we've always had like a very optimistic, aspirational Federation. And when they wanted to do something different with it, you had like dark elements within the Federation.
Section 31.
Exactly. And was it the one Pegasus? Where they had that cloaking device they're making. A bunch of times you have bad apples, right?
Yeah.
But it's always a Federation. The core of it has been the most like pluralistic, humanistic, optimistic thing that you could ever imagine. So like going off on this xenophobic.
Ransom in Star Trek Voyager, when he was in the Delta Quadrant with his fucking ship, and they were using alien beings to make the warp engines go fast. They built a new engine to try get home faster, and Captain Janeway faced the dilemma because he was a Starfleet captain, but he was breaking all the protocols. You know what I mean? He was breaking all the rules. He was a rogue, and she bloody despised everything about him. Do you know what I mean? This is what and then I see this and I'm like, in 20 years, it just took 20 years for you to regress back all the way back the way you used to act years. It looks like the way this is going to go is that the Federation are going to be barbaric in this one.
Really? Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, the Federation almost comes off as a police state.
Yeah.
And this is the antithesis to what Gene Roddenberry had envisioned for Star Trek. This is also the opposite of everybody that was involved with real Star Trek, Ronald D. Moore, Rick Berman. Also, there's many plot holes, but one central plot hole is the way they treat, well, they call them synthetics, androids, which apparently, even though they reference the episode, they never actually paid much attention to the events of The Measure of a Man from Star Trek's second season. Androids have rights.
Picard's fault. See, this is another thing I have. It was all Picard's fault as well. Again, it had to be the bloke's fault. Like, again, they just have to go with these politics, but it was Picard's fault because he wanted to help them and all this crap, and they blew up Mars and all this. Oh, it was just like, I don't know. Why can't they just? I just don't know why they can't just make it a decent sci-fi. Why they have to just keep doing this all the time? This does not have the feel of anything that came before it. Forget about Discovery's a shit show. But if you judge on everything that's came even before, even Enterprise, which gets stick, is better than this. And
that's way better.
Oh, I will challenge you on that, Noel. So. The reason that I'm sidetracking here a little bit, but this kind of goes into the context. So the reason that the first two seasons of Enterprise was bad was a phenomenon that actually kind of got out of control throughout the entire run of Voyager, whereas they were still trying to come up with 26 episodes per year. Yeah. So each season you would have maybe 4, 5, 6 brilliant episodes, and the rest was filler. And then that became even worse with Enterprise. But you have to give them credit. In season 3, they changed course completely. Season 3 was a story-long arc. I think the last 2 seasons of Enterprise are probably the best Star Trek ever got.
My dad is even a fan like yourself. Like, he actually loves Enterprise, but he actually says that the last 2 series, it actually was cut short. They should have continued it.
Oh well, it was canceled. It was supposed to be a 7-season run,
right?
And you could see they were building up. And this is one of the big tragedies of Star Trek. They were building up the Romulan arc in season 4, and then this was supposed to traverse the rest of the series. So at least another 3 seasons. They had to tie it up in 2 episodes right at the end, because luckily they were informed that they were canceled. When they still had, I believe, 4 episodes to shoot. So they were able to round up the arc. But then they gave us that horrifically bad series finale, which is one of the worst series finales in history, which I don't even tie in.
In history. It was truly awful.
It was a bad episode of TNG. And but even at its worst, and I think prior to this, I think the worst individual season of Star Trek was season 2 of Enterprise, which is just horrific. And they changed course. But we're not seeing that now. Star Trek Discovery should have changed course after season 1. It somehow managed to get worse in season 2, aside from Anson Mount, the only good thing I have to say about that. And he will not be coming back for various reasons, and I can fully understand why he won't be coming back. But the Star Trek that we know, it's over. And a lot of it has to do with the rights, and this is how they really shot themselves in the foot. Because when CBS and Viacom split in 2005, literally right after Enterprise was canceled, the rights were handed to J.J. Abrams, or Secret Robot, in 2006 to make the 2009 movie. But because by this point it was under Paramount, which was a separate entity, CBS actually owned the rights to Star Trek. Yeah. Part of the contract was it had to be 25% different, which is what
yeah.
But here's what's really screwed up. So last year, CBS and Paramount under Viacom are once again under the same umbrella. So the Star Trek rights, in theory, are still held by now CBS, Paramount, Viacom. But Picard and Discovery are still subject to the rights agreement that was signed 14 years ago, because STD and Picard are carryovers from that. So until this iteration completely dies, the rights are stripped away, we won't get real Star Trek back.
Speedily nowadays.
Yeah.
Although, did you see the story? I did a video about the other day about in the comic, Seth MacFarlane and NBC had a meeting with CBS to buy Star Trek. The non-JJ Star Trek, right?
Yep.
And the meeting lasted like 20 minutes, or supposed to be 2 hours.
Because
they had this like crazy sticker shop on the prize.
Well, and CBS is losing money on Star Trek. I don't think CBS All Access is going to survive very long. Look at the money that they God, the rumors for Star Trek Discovery are upwards of $18 million or more per episode. Just to put
it, just how? Just
reshoots wasted money.
Yeah, what they should be doing is doing something far more low budget. Have an make individual story, individual episodes. Don't do a story arc. Have each episode about an idea, one idea, and just have a beginning, middle, and end each week. And spend 18 million on a season of like 12 episodes rather than 18 million on it. And people will, you know what? I think it'll get more traction than this stuff they pour tons of money into.
Yeah, and what the big crime is Seth MacFarlane had actually approached CBS several years before Star Trek Discovery was envisioned, and he wanted to make his version of Star Trek. And CBS at the time said, "Well, no, you're the Family Guy jokester, so you're just a joke. We're not going to give it to you." So then MacFarlane says, "Well, fine, I'm going to go elsewhere." Went over to Fox and gave us the Orville, which you can tell for copyright reasons, things have been changed, but that's the vision of Star Trek that he had. Yeah. And it ties in perfectly with the original Star Trek. I would even argue that the Orville is truer to real life because I think the characters on that show are more humanized than what we had with, even with classic Star Trek. Yeah. And if they want to save Star Trek, give it to Seth MacFarlane, because CBS, they're not making mones on their streaming service.
They clearly have no idea what they're doing. Oh, one second, we just had Jason join us. Jason, say hello. How are you? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello, my friend. Hello.
Oh, he's gone again. Was the something I said?
He'll be back.
Hello. Yeah. He'll be back in a minute.
See, and I was thinking, was it yesterday, the day before? Yesterday when I watched the second episode of Picard, when they talked about when Picard talked about getting together. Well, he's not going to get Riker and Troy and Worf and LaForge together to go find Data's daughter, which is the plot that's driving the show. And my first thought was, that's the show I wanted to see. That one sounds so much better. And then I was thinking about that, and I think the essence of Star Trek, especially Next Generation, isn't one person. You can't take one character and make it Star Trek, because it's really about the it's about the relationship. It's about the camaraderie. How people would like give up anything for each other, which you just can't have when you have an individual character.
Well, that's one of the holes within this show, because when Rick Berman and Gene Roddenberry were setting up creating Star Trek: The Next Generation, because when you look at the original Star Trek, sorry, I still have a cold. When you look at the original Star Trek, it was largely the triad of Kirk, McCoy, and Spock. When they were devising The Next Generation, they took a different approach. It wasn't going to be focused on one character. It was going to be an ensemble show. Obviously, Captain Picard was at the center, but they made a special effort to make sure that every character had focus, every character had screen time. That was also one of the reasons why it was decided that Commander Riker would lead away missions. So he was almost the co-lead along with Patrick Stewart, but the whole Next Generation dynamic works as the entire crew. Yeah. And it's been reported that the reason we are not, because this should have been The Next Generation, the sequel, because everybody involved with The Next Generation, including Brent Spiner, who said he would never play Data again, most of them are involved in this series. The reason that we're not getting them, and instead we're getting this hipster crew as our side characters, the reason they're not on the show is because Patrick Stewart did not want them on the show. He said they could have short guest appearances, but he wanted this to be something distinctly different. So unfortunately, Stewart's ego is is, as much as I admire his acting, Stewart's ego is one of the major problems with this show.
Yeah,
that's completely different as in not being as good.
Yeah, it explained all the dreams. So Picard, we have to actually tell people, Picard's character now is, he's having nightmares, and he has, he wakes up, he's having all these, and he daydreams of dreams of Data. They are quite. I actually think they are quite touching moments, but it just because Brent is so old now himself, it just doesn't have the same feel. And again, all these cameos that you're talking about, it is kind of true. Sure, he went on to that show, what's it, that Whoopi does be on, and he actually
The View,
and he actually asked her live there if she would appear in Series 2. So they're all going to be making little cameos, but again, it's all member berries. And this whole story, right? So Rabbi, it's your channel. You should give the brief synopsis of the episode.
Right. Well, right. Well, there's not really much to synopsize because not much happens. But Jason, are you with us this time? Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry, I had a little bit of a flub there.
No problem. Welcome. We're talking about Picard. If you didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the basic rundown of the plot so far is, how is it? It starts off quite good. You get this beautiful shot of the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
And it's a dream sequence. So one thing I hate is like convenient dream sequences, but you have this dream sequence where it gives you a little bit of backstory. Picard wakes up. He's old. He's on this chateau in France. And essentially, the Romulans are a refugee species. I think they're an allegory for the people who are displaced by ISIS. So they're a refugee species. They're quite despised within the Federation, which is such an antithesis of what the Federation is. I hate that. Then a girl shows up.
Sentiment by Mexicans.
Yeah, it could be that. I thought the androids were the Mexicans. I'm not sure.
The
androids are non-persons.
That's the thing. There was a lot of that in this episode. I mean, that opening scene is quite good. Can I just say though? I just want to say something. The song at the start. I know I'm a fan of old music, but I didn't like the music at the start. And then he had a little bit of the Next Generation music roped into the actual main theme. Don't like the main theme. I don't know about you guys, but that kind of threw me off straight away. But that dream sequence at the start was actually very good.
Well, there were some issues. One, if you look at 10 Forward, which is obviously a CGI recreation, and actually Critical Drinker, I believe, it was Drinker, actually did a comparison of 10 Forward in that scene to what 10 Forward looked like in actual Star Trek, and it looks like crap. And the de-aging,
I saw that. Yeah, it's terrible.
But here's the other thing: the de-aging that they used on Brent Spiner, which we've seen that this can work very well. What is with his hair? Look at his hair. It's like this little hat on top of his head. But it was also it was a way to trick us because the Data scene in the trailers was envisioned as this big thing, and then all it is a dream sequence at the beginning.
Yeah. I think I kind of get it worked out. That's what it was going to be. So then, what happens next? So this girl turns up who is the key to everything. Oh no, is that before or after? Yeah, it turns up she's the key to everything, and Picard immediately knows her and likes her, and they like each other, and they go off to the Daystrom Institute, I think, to work something out. I can't. For some reason, they get attacked by. Oh yeah, she was attacked by. Yeah, in one of the dumbest scenes in Star Trek, she was attacked by a hit squad of black hooded, SAS operatives. Well, instead of just simply beaming her out, and they had phasers, but they didn't want to use stun. For some reason, we're just going to use big knives, and then they put a bag over her head to knock her out. Because again, phasers, no, we're not going to do that.
Let's not forget they wait for a while after they put a bag on her head.
Oh, right, yeah.
Does some crap then all of a sudden, like then she be. I have to say though, the fighting sequences with her in it, are actually quite impressive, I thought. Even when she's fighting on the stairs there, but when she does that big, huge jump, that, like, you know, Super A jump that we've seen and stuff, I was like, what the hell, man? That was
the Matrix jump.
That's too over the top. I don't know. I still recall. It just, there was nothing really that. I mean, what were they doing on the Borg cube, by the way? Yeah. Oh no,
we have no idea. And now in the second episode, which I'm going, the Borg cube seems to be like a historic museum or something that people can just go visit and watch people be deborgified. Maybe. Oh, I know. So back in the first episode, after she's attacked, she goes to run to find Picard. He's giving an interview to Fox News, explaining giving the backstory about what's going on. And they comment that she has an interesting looking necklace. It's not. It's a boring looking necklace. So, that's a very interesting necklace. And then, so then they go to Starfleet, and the attack happens. One of the attackers turn out to be a Romulan. He spits acid on her, and they all blow up, and they erase the footage so nobody knows they were ever there.
Yeah.
And then Picard goes to the Daystrom Institute, and he finds out that essentially this girl was Data's daughter, which Data painted a picture of her 20 years earlier. And that's essentially where the first episode ends, I think. Oh no! And then we end up on a Borg cube in the Romulan reclamation zone.
Yeah.
And science going on there. This android who's probably Data's daughter, they're made in pairs, and she has a sister. The sister is on the Borg cube, and we'll find out next episode more what's going on, or not, as the case may be. Although the Romulan guy she's with, I think, is the best thing on the show so far. Better than Patrick Stewart. He's got
that arrogance, and he's got that look. He does. There is something. He is gonna. I have a feeling he's gonna be quite good in this, to be honest with you.
Right. Okay, so that's the thing that's really annoying me, especially in the second episode, is the wasted opportunity. I love the idea of the Romulans being like refugees, and you're finding more about the Romulan culture, which has always been a very like proud culture, like when they're on their knees. I think that would be really fascinating. But they're kind of like skirting over that. We're not really getting too much of that. Okay, so the second episode, virtually nothing happens, as I recall.
Well, Picard gets yelled at by an admiral.
Oh, yeah, Picard gets Starfleet. Starfleet is now entirely run by women who are all massive bitches for some reason.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Picard gets told off by a school kid, and then is told to basically go and F himself. Yes, they dropped the F-bomb.
Yes,
well, and as much... Well, as much as... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sarah looks at me at the same time and it's like, did that really happen? I says, I have to actually rewind that back again to see if that actually happened.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, it did. The stupid thing is, yes, it did.
There's 2 F-bombs in the episode. But here's another way it doesn't adhere to canon. They look back to Star Trek 4. Spock was confused as to what the colorful metaphors were. And
yeah, exactly.
Outside of
so much of that stuff. And like on the Red Letter Media, they review it, which is brilliant. If you haven't seen that, that is essential YouTube watching. They show a clip of Uhura not understanding that, like, referring to a skin color is racist, because racism is so far removed from the Federation in the original series of Star Trek.
Yep.
And now they're all like massively xenophobic and loving Fox News.
Did anyone find it curious that Picard was so quick to get involved with this girl when he first met her?
That was weird. Like, have you ever felt a stranger to yourself? Who asked that to someone?
There was something. Did she say she could sense him, though? And she said to him, "You can sense me. You know me." I think she said that line, and I'm kind of like, "But how?"
Yeah, no, you don't.
It makes up on your right, Jason. Like if a stranger comes to your house and says, "Listen, I'm in danger. People are trying to kill me," you'd be like, "Get out of here, then! Don't be coming up in here, my door." Like he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And it's like, "Oh, I'll come in." It's like, there's no way. He would have been suspicious back in the day as well, because that's what Picard was like. He was always like on the ball. It just seems that this iteration of him, this version of him is not on the ball. Like,
well, he is old. He's cracking on a bit.
Yeah, but still, come on.
Yeah, I mean, but the whole scene though, when she arrived at Picard's vineyard, I mean, it was just like 1 minute he's like, who are you? And then the next minute he's shuffling her in the house to sort of get, it must be, like I say, it must be a really slow decade at the vineyard for him to just, jump up and want to throw himself into this situation without, much motivation at all or much backstory. He just was really quick to.
Well, it's funny because the Irish woman in the episode, right, she plays a Romulan, doesn't she? She's kind of his housekeep with the husband or whatever it is. Right. I don't know if they're established who they are, but they're friends of him or whoever, they're living in the house. She even says, remember when he says he wants to get his ship then? She even says, you must be bleeding crazy, like, because it is all crazy. You look at what's happening. There's no sense to this whatsoever. Why would he help this girl that he knows absolutely nothing about, except it might be Data's daughter? And fair enough. I know he's in Nemesis at the end. He took Data's death very badly. We've seen that. But would he really go this far? 20 years later, he's still not over Data's death?
Yeah,
Come
on. Again, the weird thing is they didn't spend much screen time together on Next Generation. Like Data spent time with relationships with everybody more than Picard.
Especially, yeah. Geordie LaForge especially. That was
right. He was his best friend. He said it many times in the episode.
Yeah, and he's Cat Spot. Like, they were the two main relationships he actually had, like. Right. And then his daughter, obviously, what was her name again when she came into it?
Lol.
And then the evil brother. Yeah, they were the only times that you kind of got to see, not an emotional side of Data, but you could see that he was troubled by the death of his daughter did affect him, and the death of his brother did affect him, even though he was an android. But that's it. Even though that scene, I did enjoy that scene. That scene was just a bit out of place. It's not the same. There was no need for this series, to be honest with you, at all. And I know some of you were saying, he's like the Next Generation crew. I don't think there was any need for even a Next Generation crew series either. Why not just make something completely different? Why drag all these old stars back? Because it's the only way that they can do it, you see, because they know that these characters are popular. They know that a standalone series with actors that we don't know, because they've tried it with Discovery, is not going to work. So they bring back Picard because he was popular, because people know him. He's more recent than Shatner. So they bring him in, right? And then he brings all these pals in for cameos, and then Bob's your uncle. It's like what we're doing right now.
It took some convincing from what I understand, it took some convincing to get Patrick Stewart back on board. He didn't just jump up and say, look, you're putting a reunion back together. I'm in, count me in. He really, one of his conditions was I'm not going to be the captain of the Starfleet again. We're not going to go in that direction. And he wasn't on board with that. He wanted it to be something different. He didn't want to be engaged with that. And, I kind of agree though. I don't, I just, I mean, maybe I'm alone, but it's just his performance in the show. Look, I know he's older. I mean, granted, I know look, this is 18 years after Nemesis, right? So it's been a while, but I just, considering his level, and this is what I just posted a review about this, and, it wasn't comprehensive review. It was just a short, my impressions of the show. And basically for me, it's just as a casual viewer, it's just hard to get past, and he's still a good actor, but it's hard to get past his performance, because I just felt like it was just lacking, because here's
go ahead. I'm gonna say it. Age has caught up with poor Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's only so much you can do with faceless.
Even the running scene, and I know he probably didn't run that distance, but you could even see there that was showing his age there. It just, I'm sorry, I don't see this working.
Oh, that's a really good point. When they're being chased by the black covered people towards the end of the first episode, Yeah, her first instinct is let's take this very old man up a lot of flight of stairs.
Yeah,
no,
she's an android. Like, I know she's still trying to figure that out, but you think she would have even lifted him up over her shoulder or something, because she jumped, so she obviously knew she had some bloody like ability. She could have picked him up and ran with him. I don't know. I don't think there was any need for this. They could have they tried it with Discovery, it failed. It's Star Trek. There's not I'm sorry, but there isn't a will for it.
But I don't think it's limited really to his just the physical stamina required for the role. It's also, the way, the way he talks, his level of charisma. He doesn't have that anymore.
Right.
It is actually unfortunately lacking. It is. It's not the same Patrick Stewart, and we do have to realize, he's not the same guy. If this happened 10 years ago, we'd probably be sitting here with a different view. But
we wouldn't be in 2020. Like anything before 2015, I think we would have been okay, sort of.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Picard, the function of Picard was this towering essence of human strength. That's why they tortured him, and the Cardassian, and he was just this incredible strength and human dignity. And now he's just frail, and he doesn't have that strength. At least he's not. He's not showing it on screen right now, and it's sad. It's just kind of sad watching it.
Well, it kind of reminds me of like I don't know if you have this in the UK or if you've heard of this show, but it's almost like I don't want to mock the show, but it just I also don't want to see a Matlock in space. I mean,
I kind of do want to see that show.
Well, but I mean, I'm saying as a person who I did watch some Next Generation, and I did watch quite a few episodes of the classic series. I just really, that's the way I would like to remember Patrick Stewart in the Star Trek genre or the Star Trek franchise is maybe in the in Next Generation, because that's and if they could have captured that. The essence of that with him, if he were younger, I think it could have worked. But yeah, I just
well, he was right about one thing, Jason, when he said this was nothing like Next Generation.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Oh yeah, not joking.
And
there.
I mean, and also, I don't know about the rest of you, but I mean, again, I'm a casual viewer, but I got the sense that there was a lot. It didn't really feel as much like I was watching a Star Trek series. It felt more like a sci-fi series with Patrick Stewart with some Star Trek elements sprinkled in.
Yeah, that was done on purpose. One of Patrick Stewart's many conditions was that this had to feel completely different from 80s and 90s Star Trek. So the tone change was deliberate. And as I was saying earlier, I think, Jason, before you joined the stream, the fact that this isn't a ensemble series was also because of Patrick Stewart's demands. The politics within the show, or the way it's being framed, that was also Patrick Stewart.
But can I ask a question? If he's demanded all these demands, why come back if he doesn't want it to be at and that what made him basically famous? Mm-hmm. That's what I don't understand. Why would he come back to something if he wants it to be completely different to something that made him famous, something that he is recognized for, that he knows that would actually help make this show a success? Because if it was like a continuation of Next Generation with the old cast in it, older, then obviously it would make more sense. This just doesn't, him on his own. And you're right, I've heard the stuff he's come out with as well. And it does look like that we're going to get his politics and his ideology in this show. And to be quite honest with you, it's not. He seems very divisive at the moment, and it makes me worried about what we're going to do for the rest of the series. But this is out of place. I mean, I stopped 5 episodes in with Discovery, so I never actually watched the end of that shit show.
You didn't miss anything.
But I will watch. I am going to continue to watch this because everybody agrees it's not as bad as Discovery, but there's nothing here so far that I could say, yeah, this makes me excited. The Borg Cube, maybe. I have a bit of a theory in my head right now because Picard and the Borg have had a past. And if they go that direction with it, like a kind of Picard and the Borg again, then I would be happy with that if done properly. But we know it's not going to be. It's going to be about this girl. She's going to be the main focus of it because, you know, that's just the way it is now. All these women have to be front and center. And Picard is a strong character. And already in 2 episodes, he's already been talked down to. And he looks kind of frail. And he has those insecurities. And he's having nightmares. So he's basically a shadow of his former self. He's not even the Picard that we know, you know. He's not older and wiser. He seems reckless. If you actually look at the way it's written so far, he looks reckless because Jason makes the point. Young girl turns up at his vineyard and he's straight away, like he's asking questions at first, but then he invites her in as if there's nothing. Like, you know what I mean? That's reckless. Picard always questions everything.
And that was the other. I'm just wondering what you guys on the panel think of Daj, the character. What your impressions of her were?
She has zero character right now. There is no character for her. She turns up, and then suddenly she's okay. They start off. She's a normal soap opera, character, and then suddenly she turns into Tom Cruise, like a super secret agent, and doesn't know what's happening. Then she goes to see Picard for no apparent reason. Picard likes her. And then she becomes Neo from the Matrix, and then she blows up, and then she's on a bull cube, and that's who. I'm like, what? Who? What? What's going? Oh,
no,
and also,
there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them. So So here's the premise, right? So Jordan Nemesis, or before Nemesis, Data apparently either Data or someone got a hold of his positronic brain or his system, whatever, right? And there's bits of them out there in the universe, is what I'm gathering, in these androids, right? And Picard's whole mission basically is he wants to find those missing pieces because he still has this desire, if the way it's being written and the way I see it going, he still has a desire to bring Data back somehow because he still hasn't gotten over his death. That's the way I'm seeing it so far.
Yeah, that's about right.
It seems like that because he keeps having these dreams about Data. He keeps, there's all these weird things happening. Right then, he finds out that Data's daughter was actually painted on a picture 20 years ago. Right, and then he finds out then that there's actually 2, that there was twins, that there's actually a pair of them made. So one blown up, as you said, Rabbi. The other one's on the Borg cube now. But it seems to me, if I'm correct in the way I'm looking at it, because he keeps talking about, when he's talking to the scientist, I forget your woman's name, Picard, he says something about the positronic bleeding brain or the system, whatever it is. So he says there's bits of data out there. So I think this is what this is. It's kind of like he's kind of God and he's trying to reassemble bleeding data or some mad crap like that. It's just going to be stupid anyway. And it's boring the crap out of me.
Yeah, that's really the biggest problem. It's just kind of dull. More than it is just kind of dull.
I have to say though, I mean, Daj, the character. I mean, there, when, like you were saying, Rabbi, when she comes on the screen initially, you're thinking, okay, well, that's for her character in that particular point in the show. It was fine. Now, when they start making her one of the main characters and sort of the centerpiece of the show, that's, and I've got to watch her repeatedly in repeated scenes as being a centerpiece. Then I start, I feel myself starting to get a little irritated.
Yeah, it falls apart. And she's not strong. She needs to be a strong presence on the screen. And she's not. She's just not. She just, she's just this person that it's, Jesus Christ. I just felt like, it wasn't Jodie Whittaker all over again, but there was some anger. I was just like, why was she cast in this role when she's obviously inept for this part? And, I agree.
I can't say she's inept because I don't know what her role is. I don't she's like.
We're only 2 episodes in fairness, but in the 2 episodes that we've seen, she's had 2 fighting scenes. She's had a love scene. She's been on the Borg cube, and she's feeling sorry for the Borg right now, you could see. the Romulan, he's an agent, obviously, and his mission is basically just to have sex with her to get information out of her. Actually,
Right.
At the end of the second episode, it's a bit creepy. Actually,
Well, here's the thing, though, why I say she's inept, because I'm supposed to be, as a viewer, I'm supposed to be drawn in, and she's supposed to, there's supposed to be some sympathy created for her character, right? Because she's crying and she's carrying on and distraught, and I'm like, look, you're not pulling me in with your acting ability. I don't feel anything for you. The way you do it comes across as artificial, contrived, and it just makes me angry that that they pick her to try to bring about this sympathy for the character, because I really don't feel anything for her, and I just frankly I could care less if she blows up or falls in a ditch or whatever the hell happens to her.
I feel that way about all the characters. I think I don't like the way. There's a few things I don't like about the characters, and how it's put together. A lot of things are just very convenient and stupid. Like the dreams are just very convenient and stupid, and that doesn't happen in the real world. Also, the characters, they just happen to have the skill set you need right there, and like his Romulan housekeeper, slave, whatever. I don't know what the hell their relationship is. She's also apparently is kick-ass investigator for the Tal Shiar, the Romulan secret police. Well, they're not that secret because there's another more secret police that they have. But like whenever they need something to do something, the plot needs something to do something, a character has the ability to do it. And it's just. It's not the best writing,
and I don't think the rest of the like you guys were saying. I do think Narek is one of the bright spots in the show, and he's really he's one of the few actors in the show that I look at and I'm like, I could watch this guy. I can tolerate this. He actually makes me appreciate. What's that?
I agree with you, Jason. He looks good. He's one of the more interesting characters in this. Actually, the scientist that Picard went to see as well. She looks like she might be interesting as well. There's a couple of characters in it that I'm looking to see where their stories go, and definitely those two for me.
I think the scientist, the female you're talking about, had some personality. She actually exhibited a little bit of personality, and that's the thing that I think is sorely lacking. The other thing that I noticed is. The Starfleet command, like when he went to it seemed like everyone in Starfleet that was in command was a female. There wasn't a male to be had in the entire episode or in both episodes.
That's 2020. When 2020's TV, they can't have somebody in a position of power who isn't female.
Cringy. The part where he goes and gets the silver box out. He takes out his comm badge and he walks out to the bleeding the front of his gaff, and he looks up into the sky, presses his comm badge, and he asks for a ship. That was one of the cringes. And the explosion should have killed him, by the way. He's an 82-year-old man.
Well, on the show, Picard's actually 97.
Not a scratch on him. Get away.
Yeah, again, with the money they're putting into this, I do not understand for the life of me why CBS All Access don't at the same time do a very cheap traditional Star Trek show. Try to basically do Star Trek Continuous, Star Trek, whatever the one they do on you have on YouTube with
Star Trek Continues was
try to try to do a 12-episode run of that, and I bet you just having good quality ideas and a good stories will grab people far more than all the glitz that they are. Like they're just pouring it. But they're TV executives. They don't understand. They are morons.
Well, I think we do have Star Trek. We have the Orville.
Yep.
That's the closest thing that we're ever going to get to it now. I mean, I love the Orville. I've watched the first two series. Can't wait for series 3. I heard there's big things planned for the next couple of series, so I can't wait to see what they have planned. But yeah, it'd be fantastic. I can't wait. But the Picard is nowhere near it. It's a pity. They should have listened to Seth MacFarlane if that's true. If he wanted to do Star Trek, they should have let him do it. Because they wouldn't be in the position that they're in. I know this is getting a second series, but I'll be surprised if this goes past the second series, to be honest.
We said that about Discovery as well, and like somehow they're making a third season of that
That's saving face, because CBS All Access, the only justification for their existence is that show. And if they cancel Star Trek Discovery, then they're done. Even though, like what I was saying earlier, it's $18 million and higher per episode, which is ridiculous. Nobody can actually figure out where that money's going. But yeah, if they cancel STD, they're done.
I think they're done when the STD's done when they cancel CBS All Access.
Yeah. Is there any way of saving this franchise now, though? I mean, Discovery has been, let's be honest, I'll put my hands up and say I haven't watched it since the 5th episode of Series 1, so I haven't watched it since then.
It gets worse.
It gets so much worse.
Are so boring that I actually fell asleep watching them, so I couldn't watch anymore, and I gave up on it, right? But I'm gonna stick with this one. But do you think, because Picard, let's be honest, it hasn't been the best start. It's actually quite mediocre. Can they turn this around?
Look, give it to Seth MacFarlane.
Their greatest hope of keeping the franchise viable and alive was the fan films, which they stomped on. Yeah, that was their greatest hope of having an engaged fan base.
I wanted the Voyager trilogy of movies, because we had Next Generation, we had the original crew. I wanted the Voyager.
I'd much rather see Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I would have rather seen Deep Space Nine as well. It had been considered, but unfortunately, Voyager specifically never really had the popularity to justify a movie.
True. Yeah. I agree with you, because I am a fan of that series. I know it's not the greatest, right? It did have a lot of filler episodes, but there is some gems in there.
Although, CBS All Access is a fantastic opportunity. They could do TV movies.
Mm.
And they could, again, without having massive budgets, they could do TV movies. When you have a streaming service, you can throw things at the wall like this, and see what works. But it's I do not see this.
The guys who are behind it that are writing it, the guys that are producing it, is a Kurtzman, isn't it? This is Kurtzman, isn't it? And I mean, I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's a divisive character, and his it's
okay. I'll give you a quick explanation of Kurtzman. He's less talented than Chris Chibnall.
Agreed.
That's all you need to know. Did any of you guys see the Deep Space Nine documentary? What they left behind?
No. Many years ago.
Oh no, this was new. It came out like a few months, 6 months ago.
Oh no, this is a new one.
Okay,
is it on YouTube?
No, it's on. You can buy it as a disc from Amazon. So what it is, it's freaking awesome. But what they have at the core of it, they get the writers' room together. They get Ronald D. Moore, just everybody, and they break down the plot of the first episode of a season 8 of Deep Space Nine if they shot it today, and it's freaking brilliant. And they interspersed with that, you have all the retrospective stuff. But it's who's in it? Ronald D. Moore and I can't remember.
I just added it to my cart.
It's so freaking good. It's so good.
Wow. See, here's the thing: they're gonna kill me for this, right? But at the time when Deep Space Nine was out, I was I don't forget how old I was, but I wasn't into it because I found it boring. There was just too much talk and not enough action for me at the time. Now, my little brother absolutely loves it. Now, he keeps telling me, he says, you have to watch it, he says, because the last few seasons especially are probably the best Star Trek.
I agree with him.
You're talking about DS9? Season 7 in particular, the whole second half of that season is just one massive, I think it's 10 parts. It's one massive 10-part movie. And the final episode of Deep Space Nine is absolutely unbelievable. It's the opposite of the end of Enterprise. It is brilliant. So if I didn't
Voyager either, that was a bit of a cop-out, that ending to Voyager as well.
They arrived home at the beginning of the last episode. What was the whole plot?
Yeah, so what happens is Voyager comes across this what they think is a planet, But when they go inside it, they realize that it's actually for the Borg, and it's like a transport center, a network. So what happens is Borg are able to get to the other side of the galaxy instantaneously, right? But then what happens then is that Captain Janeway decides that she's not actually going to use it, so she comes out. But then we go into the future, and Admiral Janeway then decides that she's going to change the future. So she gets this piece of technology. She gets a shuttlecraft. She goes back through time. She helps Captain Janeway to go back in. Captain Janeway realizes what she wants to do. She pulls out again for the second time. Then they come together, old Janeway and young Janeway. They have a discussion. They decide to do it. They trick the Borg Queen. It's actually good. It's good. They're good two-parter. It's just the ending was a bit of a cop-out. It was too easy. It was just too easy. It was like all the shit that they fought, right, was harder than the end mission. And the ending was cringy. The ship appears then, comes out of a Borg sphere, right? And all the ships are just there greeting Voyager, and then it just ends. We don't even get to see them go back to Earth. Now, there is a book. They did a book after they go back to Earth, and then we get to see what happens to the crew then shortly after that. But,
was it somebody said in the chat there was a series of novels that was season 5 of Enterprise.
They basically just let us know what happened to the crew. But I wanted the movie. Because I thought Endgame, they were good episodes, but they could have been so much better. And the Borg Queen featured as well. That featured in the movie. So, it was all right. It wasn't great, but.
Again,
I don't know what it is with Voyager. I always seem to go back and watch that one more than the rest of them, believe it or not.
Right, so, but I think we've really pinpointed something very important about Picard here. That when you start, we've just floated into talking about literally anything else. Like any other Star Trek is more engaging to talk about. Even Star Trek that isn't that good. With the exception of Discovery, which is truly
any other Star Trek, that you're missing one. No, Star Trek Discovery is so bad in some instances it can be entertaining.
I don't know, like the last episode of Star Trek Discovery where they found where they just happened to find this platform in space. like what?
Well,
space is very big.
Well, see, this is the difference between modern because. Star Trek, which I call real Star Trek, 66 to 2005, you have science fantasy, so that's going to be Star Wars and Doctor Who. You have actual science fiction, which is supposed to be based in the science of the time, so they try and get things as accurate as they can. Every Star Trek show, well, at least from real Star Trek, had actual scientists working on the show. Star Trek Discovery, because the science is not explained, it's bad science fantasy. So that the technology doesn't even fit into when this is supposed to take place, which is a decade before the original series. And they try and fix canon by saying, nope, you can never discuss these events again. It's top secret. So all their families, nope, we cannot discuss it again. I'm like, God damn it. So that scene, you actually have to laugh your ass off because it's just so ridiculous.
There's so many things in the end of the Discovery. Like no, you haven't seen it. You've got to see the second season of Discovery. In the last episode, they won't have a male character's head be higher than a female character, and it was a weird. Like it was so noticeable.
Well, there are scenes, and actually Gary did a video on this while it was airing. There are scenes you can see. There's scenes in engineering. There's scenes in corridors where there's not a single male character to be seen. The closing or one of the closing scenes to the season finale, which was on the Enterprise with the 25% different Enterprise, there's a scene where the only two males on the bridge are Pike and Spock, and then the rest is all female.
Right. The 75% female Federation. Starfleet for some reason, whenever I got to fights on Facebook about it, I would just say if they just explained it, like why is this our society's approach to the genders inverted in this, like why? Like, has there been a disease that's wiped out all the guys? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that is true. Either that, or I don't know. We're not allowed to work on the Enterprise because we're evil.
So, okay, Picard has been like there's rumors that it got heavily rewritten, reshot. What do you think based on these two first opening episodes? What do you think the original Picard was going to be? That everybody went, "Oh my god, that's the worst thing ever."
Well, I can tell you right now.
Oh, okay.
This is my theory, but a lot of people share this theory. Is I think because you'll notice the level of wokeness in Star Trek Picard is not what we expected, especially if you compare it to other things. I think that is part of what was cut out, and unfortunately, that's why we have very little development with some of these characters because those scenes were axed. So I think, given that this was Kurtzman Trek, with Michael Chabon, who took over showrunner, who's now also gone, my theory is that it was a woke mess, and that's what got cut out. Not verified, just my theory, and a few other people think that might have been the problem as well. Whereas CBS saw this, and I think this is why Alex Kurtzman was demoted. CBS saw it, and if you're looking to make money, they're not dumb. They know how this is going over. So I think my view is that's what was changed.
All right.
My original impression when they announced Picard, which, as I understand it, was many moon ago, but when I was aware that they were working on this, which is not, I guess, relatively speaking, is not that long ago. My impression was it was going to be he was going to resume his captainship on something like a Starfleet, ship, and I was genuinely curious, as to how they were going to do that. Of course, that's not the way it went, and I'm sure anybody who was informed probably knew that long before I did. But I would have, if you asked me, I don't know, maybe you guys are different, but I would have been interested to see, maybe Picard manning another Starfleet ship and being the captain again, and seeing how that worked out. Of course, he's as I have observed, he's past his prime. Even if that would have been the way they would have gone with it, it still wouldn't have, still wouldn't have been satisfactory to me. But for the writing in this particular series so far, episode 1 and 2, from what I could see, if the acting wasn't so dreadful, I could probably, be okay with it. I mean, I'd watch it. There's parts that could be engaging. There's twists that I think, just as a casual viewer, I mean, I could live with it. But for me, the acting is just, there's just so much mediocrity in the acting. I mean, Picard himself would be fine if he were 15 years younger, but because he's not, and because we're not getting any other relief other than maybe the odd scientist and Narek, what else have you got? So there's that alone is really a roadblock to me, even considering further viewing.
See,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Rabbi. Go ahead.
I was going to say, while you're talking, I had an idea for a Picard show. I think that would have been really cool. That if they needed if Picard had some knowledge that was that they needed him and only him for some mission, and he was brought out of retirement and put onto a starship, and you saw how alienated he was from like this new generation of Starfleet, of how different it is and how cold and antiseptic it is. That I think would have been a real, and you would have got that Star Trek-y filter because you're on a starship. I think I think that just would have worked so much better than what I think we're seeing here.
Because I think the progression, the way it's going to go down, I really think it's going to be sort of a Firefly situation where he's going to get another ship. He's going to get a crew that's, this isn't going to be connected with Starfleet. It is what it appears to me. And he's just going to sort of do a rogue thing, being Captain Picard of his own ship, with a crew of his own choosing and solving this in his own way.
Yeah, that's what it looks like from the trailers. Does anybody think he's going to be on that? Have you seen the pictures and the images in the trailers from the original Romulan Warbird from the original series? Do you reckon that's going to be a ship that he's going to be on?
Yeah, I'd like to see that happen. To be honest. But the problem that we're gonna have is with all series that we seem to get now is you'll get these interesting threads, but you will never get any resolution, or you'll hardly get any resolution because they put these things out there, but then they don't even know what to do with them themselves. We see that with a lot of franchise. We've seen it with Star Wars, we've seen it with Doctor Who, and now we're seeing it with actually Star Trek as well. This is the problem that we have. They do come up with interesting concepts. The problem is that they never actually make sense or come to fruition because they don't even know where they're going with it themselves. This series, so the reshoots, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see how it affects the overall series. But so far, like, you know, 2 episodes in, I'm in agreement with Jason. It's just, it is mediocre. It is sad to see. I don't think Patrick Stewart is up to it, and it's sad to see. It really is. There was, you don't look. Everybody wants a Star Trek series. We've been crying out for years for one, a decent one. But that doesn't mean you have to drag old cast members back to try and make it appeal.
Bring them back from the dead. You know, weekend Star Trek Weekend at Bernie's.
Just all you have to do is like we say with Doctor Who, understand what you have in front of you, understand the history, understand the canon, understand the lore, and then go on from there and bring a new series in that will actually get the classic fans on board as well as the new fans that you want to attract. You can do it. It's simple. But when you hear a series is being reshot, it's never a good sign. And this is what we've heard, you know, and this is the thing. But you notice it's a similar theme across everywhere. Doctor Who had reshoots. Star Wars had reshoots. Now Star Trek has had reshoots, right? These people make something, they're not making it properly. So why aren't the heads of CBS saying, okay, you didn't do it to our specification, you're fired, right? Get someone in that gets it the way they want it done, right? Okay, it might turn out to be not something that we like, but it's at least it's true to what they want to bloody do. These people are coming in, they're putting their own ideas on it, and some are actually even ignoring canon, like Chris Chibnall's doing with Doctor Who. They're doing the same with Star Trek as well. They did the same with Star Wars. They don't care.
Well, you know, part of the, well, for me, look, I think the canon is a big issue, but for me, I don't know what's going on. It's just the casting in these shows is just freaking awful. It is just awful. And that's the one thing. Even if the writing was good, even if the canon was there, I you know, let's say those things were in place. As I've said, you know, on these Doctor Who discussions, what is going on with the casting though? You just can't throw in mediocre actors, even with a good story, even with good, you know, everything else being good. And then
is it because that, right? You're saying about the mediocre cast, right? Here's a question for you. Would that be because they're actors of, say, proper caliber are looking at these scripts, can actually see that they're so bad, so they can't get the actors that they want? So they
you know, that's not what I think is going on. I think they're casting people based on identity politics more than anything else. Occasionally you'll get an actor cast because he's a good actor. Again, the one real good casting in Picard, which like shines whenever he's on the screen, is the Romulan guy on the Borg cube. Whenever he's got so much screen presence, whenever he's on the, he just makes everybody else look so bland. And next season they're going to bring on John Delancey apparently as Q. Like, I just don't think Patrick Stewart can hold his own against him anymore.
No.
It's so sad, isn't it? It's just, I thought that they've no originality. This is why they do it. They've no originality, so they bring back characters that we love and then try to write a series based on that character, and it never turns out the way that fans expect, because these people just don't understand that character. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And they don't care. In fact, no, you know what? I think the real talent that Kurtzman has is not in writing; it's in making these ironclad contracts that he can never be disadvantaged through ever. Like, I think if they fired him for gross incompetence, they got to pay him as an insane amount of money for doing nothing. So that's really the political maneuvering in Hollywood is where the talent is now. It's not in creating or writing good shows, because clearly he's never written anything that's been watchable in any, like, everything he touches turns to garbage.
That's the thing, but here's the thing, right? JJ's the same, right? JJ's the same in Star Wars. So here's the question I'm going to ask you guys, and maybe you can answer this. If they're so incompetent, and these people know that they're incompetent, and every time they make something it loses money, why are they still getting bloody jobs and still actually going and being allowed to ruin other franchises? I mean, JJ's gone off to what now? Paramount? Not Paramount. Who's he gone off to? Is it Paramount?
HBO and Warner.
Warner Brothers. So he's gone to Warner Brothers now. What's he going to screw? Oh, yeah, he's already messed around with Wonder Woman, because apparently that's already gotten reshoots.
Right. And it was testing. Wonder Woman, it was testing incredibly high. He came in and did a bunch of reshoots. The testing got much worse.
Yeah. So why are they? See, this is what I'm talking about. He clearly has no talent. He obviously has the gift of the gab, and that's why he's been able to brag his way through job and job. But they've no talent, so why do they keep hiring these guys like Alex Kurtzman and bloody JJ? It actually annoys me. Do you know what I mean? Because there's obviously some talented person out there that knows they could make a better job of it. And they're sitting there and they're probably watching with their hearts breaking like fans are and saying, I could put something better on the screen.
I think it's probably because a guy like J.J. Abrams and the others are on, they're towing the company line. They're on board with whatever agenda that these guys are paying them to be on board with. That's part of what I think's going on. I could be wrong, but I think that had something to do with
having
it.
the right politics is a big thing. It's like, as long as you're in. I mean, again, the whole premise of Picard is Patrick Stewart's view of the world, which is we used to live in paradise. Like under the Obama, years, and now we live in hell.
They're not very subtle.
The racist, and the Nazis everywhere. That's his view of reality. It's even clear from the titles of the show. We have like the blue skies, and suddenly it starts to crack. And it's like it's so freaking obvious. And like, you just want. There should be a service for Hollywood where you could go and say, "No, that's crazy." Yeah, you just say, no, you don't want to do that. That's absolutely crazy. You just got to be able to tell them that they're being nuts.
Well, who wants to bet that at some point we're going to see a clip of the president of the Federation and it's going to be Trump?
Space Force.
I think probably that's probably one of the things they got scared off doing, which is why it's so bland. Now you don't have their utter hatred of the world and the world around them. They can't express that, which is what they did in Discovery. Now you just have blandness.
Yeah.
And again, that's I think that's the greatest crime of Kurtzman's Trek. It goes from awful to bland. Did anybody see the short treks?
No, I'm actually going to watch them because I know Ball's Trek has actually been reviewing them.
They're bad. Well, no, there's
so bad.
There's actually a short trek that's a lead into this series, and my God, I don't know. Has anybody seen it?
Yeah, I did a review of it. It's so cringe. But that's not the worst one they did.
No, the worst one they did was when they bastardized Spock, who breaks into song. They ruined Spock in 10 minutes.
Yeah, also written by Bond.
Hang on. Did you just say there that Spock breaks into song?
You haven't seen that, Noel? Oh yeah, no. The first short trek. Spock and number one are on the Enterprise. Spock smiles and he breaks into song.
See, we
with number one.
Shoot, I can't even get them over here. That's ridiculous.
I tell you what, no, I'll send you. I'll send you them tomorrow.
Cool.
Actually, you might be able to get it because CBS gave it to. We don't have it on Netflix in Canada or the US, but apparently Netflix gave or CBS gave the short treks free to Netflix. Actually, even on our own crappy streaming service, they got the short treks for free.
Because UK Netflix is different to the US Netflix. It's actually okay. I'll check it out and see. If
on US you have it on CBS All Access, but no, I don't think you have this third season on Netflix of short treks, which are truly awful. No, I will send you links for them tomorrow. Right. You have to see them. They're like there's this animated one where it goes through like the history of Star Trek on the Enterprise, and they get things wrong and in the wrong order, and you go like, what?
There you go. See, this is what I'm talking about, the incompetence, right? So if they're even getting those wrong, why isn't CBS that actually own the product saying, oh, holy shit, these people can't even get, why are we even giving these people a job?
Well,
in the product, like.
There was a holy shit. That was the Picard reshoots, and this was the best they could do.
Wow. And all they got for all their work, all their reshooting, all their all this stuff they put into it was basically everybody going, it's mostly harmless. It's like.
Yeah, let's talk about the second episode because nothing really happened in the first episode. So we kind of talked about the first episode.
Okay, so the second episode, where does it open up? It opens up with Picard's upset, I think. Yeah, and I remember they do investigating in the beginning to work out who Dodge is. And then what happens? I can't remember anything about it.
This is what I mean. I only literally watched it before we came on the stream.
What the hell happened next?
Hold on. Right. So, I don't even know what's happening next week.
Hang on. What's it? I'm opening up. I have a video file of it. I'm going to play with the sound off so I can just remind myself what the hell's going on in it.
He wakes up in the bed after the explosion. That's where it starts off, doesn't it? And then
that sounds right. Yeah.
Then onto a scene onto the Borg cube, doesn't it?
If you say so. Yeah, the Borg cube is again. It's like a natural history museum.
Yeah, and then he goes to his own national history museum. There's a Picard Day. Do you remember? There's a bleeding banner that says Picard Day.
No, that was in the first episode when he goes to Starfleet Archives. Wait! No, I'm watching it right now. The first episode starts off with a flashback of the whole Mars incident, where you see the synthetics and they destroy Mars.
Yeah,
and then you go into the titles. You got his Irish maid and her husband.
Yeah, you have to have an Irish one in Star Trek. That's
right.
Yeah. Well, don't forget. She yells at Picard and he's sad.
Sorry?
I said, and his Irish Romulan yells at him and he's sad. And then she storms off.
But that whole scene where they're investigating Dodge, how you pronounce it.
Actress though, man. So, that disappoints me in a way because...
What else has she been in? I haven't seen her before.
She's been in a lot of stuff over here in Ireland, but she was also in she was in Doctor Who.
Well, who's she in Doctor Who? I don't remember which one.
She played your one that the Silence prayer ship. She was the woman.
Right, yeah. Okay.
What's her name again? What was her name again?
I don't know.
She ended up being turned into a Dalek. Do you remember?
That was Clara was being turned into a Dalek.
Nah, remember the Dalek stock comes out of her head. Do you remember?
Oh, right. She's the
mainframe woman.
Right.
Or mainframe.
The paper mainframe.
Yeah, the paper mainframe.
Fine. Well, that if you remember that, you just watched it, so you should remember they have Picard in his chateau talking about Dodge, and it's intercut with them in her apartment, scanning for things to try and work out what happened. And it's just really weird because it's the same people, and it was like just this weird bad editing. I think it was trying to be artsy.
And Jordan, the scene, she was like, they were scrubbers and then obviously came in, but they don't want to scrub too much. They leave a clue in plain sight and all. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so
part of the reason why I have a hard time with episode 2 is because there's a lot that they throw at you. And being a casual viewer, it was a little difficult for me to kind of keep up with some of to iron out the sequence of events that they were throwing out there. Maybe it's just I'm slow or something, but I didn't really I would need to go back and really kind of rewatch it and really.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the 2 episodes again myself, Jason. To be honest with you, because
the second one, the pacing on the second one was a lot faster. The first one was a little bit slow, and then the second one they're throwing a lot of stuff, in terms of the secret society and just trying to keep up with everything.
That's what I mean. You throw all these different threads out. This is what I'm talking about. They'll throw all these interesting little threads out in one episode, and the thing about it is not all of them will be resolved, and there is some interesting ones in there. Like,
right.
I'm interested to see this Borg ship, see what's going on there. I do like the whole. I know it looks a bit weird them disassembling Borg on the ship.
Yeah, what are they actually doing? They are all those Borg dead, and they're just taking their implants out. Is that the plan?
They haven't explained it yet, but one of the reason why, especially episode 2, just seems to be a bunch of crap thrown together, is keep in mind from the original shooting, the number of episodes was compressed. So I have a feeling that episode 1 and 2 may have been 3 or 4 different episodes originally, and they just cut and then just spliced everything together, like that scene where they're going back and forth between scanning her apartment and back on Picard's vineyard is possibly the most awkwardly edited scene.
It's really weird. It's really weird. Why?
I thought my audio was out of sync, and then I'm
I thought the file I was watching was broken.
And when talking to Gary when I was on a stream yesterday, who actually has done professional editing, he was just blown away at that scene, and the fact that ended up in a multi-million-dollar TV show.
Who's that, Gary?
Nerdrotic.
They just throw any old shite out because they know people are just going to watch it anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. It's that the people, the business people making the show, do not understand creative at all. And they just feel if you pay this person, they will produce the product that these people will then consume. And now they're kind of confused at how that's not working.
Well, if they listen to fans, they'd actually have a good read. They'd actually know why. It's
right. Again, I keep going back to saying they kill themselves.
They come out and slam the fans instead of actually listening to fans. Though they come out and slam the fans. He helped them make this product better and actually get more people to watch it and actually to go out and buy their bloody merchandise. Do you know what baffles me? The way the entertainment industry actually go on today. I thought it was about making a shitload of money. And I mean, as much money as you can make, you make as much money like that if you make the product high quality. If you're making mediocre entertainment, then you're not going to make that much money. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think the biggest lesson that they're missing is from the early Marvel movies, which succeeded because they were very authentic to their source material, and that decision changed cinema through the last 10, 15 years. I think it held cinema together for the last 10, 15 years, and it's so incredibly significant. And they just all completely ignore that and go, no, we're going to make you Star Trek, but not Star Trek that Star Trek people like Star Trek like. We're going to make Star Trek that nobody likes.
Well, here's the thing, though, is look, they're trying to fuse entertainment with their agenda. I mean, that's it. They're trying to create some hybrid between, entertaining. You find a medium, a fine middle ground between being entertained and being preached to.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue that they're having, is they're not focused on actually creating a real quality product that's going to appeal to the fans, because if they did that, they'd have to cut into the very thing that they're trying to propagandize. And they're not going to do that. So in order to, this is the best you're going to get, really.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the way it's going to be until someone finally snaps and says, right, enough is enough of this. But we could be years waiting for that to happen.
There's no sign of that happening at all, is there?
It's getting worse.
Yep.
Yeah, it is actually getting worse. Did you see the Birds of Prey? I know this has gone a little bit off topic, but did you see the Birds of Prey trailer that they dropped?
No, is that out yet? The movie?
Yeah,
it's going to flop. Ticket sales, early ticket sales are almost non-existent. And Ewan McGregor, my God, with the interviews he's been doing, he's just gone off complete the woke end. Like DC, God damn it, guys! I like they almost had her.
You know, she's a character, and they're ruining Harley Quinn just because they need to have. I thought they've totally changed her character. Like, she was actually great in Suicide Squad, even though I don't like that movie. But she was one of the bright sparks of that movie, and it wasn't just because of the way she looked either. That's pleasing to the eye. But Margot Robbie is actually a great actress, and she brought Harley Quinn to life. And now it looks like we're going backwards now. They have to, like, oh, you can't wear sexy clothes now, Harley Quinn. No.
Yeah, no, that's the insanity. They can't make a clearly sexualized character be sexualized. You know, like it's like Charlie's Angels. You can't make something that, like, for the male gaze. Like, that's why they freaking existed, idiots.
I don't know where they got this thing where beautiful women can't kick ass in skimpy clothes.
Because it objectifies a woman. They don't want that.
You're saying like it's a bad thing.
No, I know that. I know that. I mean, I agree, but I'm just saying that it objectifies women and makes them look like women, and we can't have women looking like women.
Nah, do you know what it is, Jason? It's bitter old women that look at those women and say, "Oh Jesus, I wish I looked like her." And it's so bitter with and twisted with men as well that you just want to ruin it for all of us, right?
I'm just saying, man, they don't want women that actually look feminine, because that might imply that you know. That might turn some guys on, and we can't have that either.
Are you gonna watch it? Are you still gonna watch it? I'm debating whether we should or not. I definitely gonna watch
Prey? Oh God, no.
No, not in the theater. I'll watch it after the fact. Well, DC makes me mad because they had the early movies, which were for the most part a disaster, aside from Wonder Woman. Then they gave us, two okay movies, Aquaman and Shazam. Then, even though it's not part of the DCEU, but it's still DC Warner, they gave us Joker, which was absolutely brilliant, which, made us hope that, okay, maybe they're going to turn themselves around and become the new Marvel, as Marvel seems deemed to tank itself in the next few years. And then, nope, they come out with Birds of Prey. I'm like, good work, DC. You won us for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, really. They seem to be pulling it together. No.
Hey, let me jump in real quick, guys. It's been a pleasure being on the chat with you. I've got to run because I got to stream with Blue Bonnet Hoovy in here shortly. So, I'm gonna
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
Tonight we're gonna hit some maybe run the gamut between UFO stuff, paranormal stuff, just some things of that nature, and it's not gonna be Doctor Who related, but things that we think are kind of interesting related to UFOs.
Cool.
Skinwalker awesome. Ranch, who knows? So,
what time are you starting?
Could be between 4 and 4:30. Not sure entirely yet, but it's going to be shortly. So,
okay, cool. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, I'm on, it's like 11:30 for me. I got to get up at 5:45 in the morning. So we'll go for like another. I don't know. If you guys up for like another 10, 20 minutes?
Oh yeah,
cool. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right, Jason.
I'm interested in the UFO.
Oh wait, Jason, do you want to put your channel in the chat?
Yeah, I'll post it before I go, but like I said, it was a pleasure being on with you guys. I appreciate you having me, Rabbi.
Oh, thank you for coming.
No problem. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man.
You too, Jason.
And then there were 3. So where do you think this show is going? Where do you think Picard is going to go in the next 8 episodes?
See, here's the thing. For me, it's very hard to predict right now because there's so many ways that this show could go. And when is the 3rd episode due for release?
It comes out on Thursdays Thursdays at midnight, like first thing in the morning. In the US.
On where you are. I think the UK gets it later.
UK gets it. Rest of the world gets it Fridays.
See, we have it on. Actually, I think Canada is the only place that has 2 options. We get it on. It used to be Space, now it's CTV Sci-Fi, And we get it on our own crappy streaming service called Crave, which is where I watch it. So I had to renew my $10 a month subscription for this wonderful 720p streaming service.
And really? That's it?
It's 720p if you're lucky. Usually it's pixelated to heck, 480. But yeah, Crave drops it at the same time as CBS All Access. But I think the UK gets it a day later because you guys are getting it on Prime, I think.
All right, so it's Saturday now. Oh no, did the second episode just drop this weekend? Am I getting confused?
Right. Yeah, no, you're completely up to date. The next one you're going to be able to get on Amazon is going to be Friday.
Yeah, and we get it Thursday.
Oh, well, then that's okay. Then we're only a day behind. That's fine. Yeah. You know, I don't know if anybody, because I know a couple of my subscribers are actually here. I don't know if you would like me to do the reviews of Picard on the channel. Actually, let me know. I'm going to be watching it anyway. So, but I don't know, Rabbi. I don't know where this is going, to be honest with you. But I just think it's sad to see Patrick Stewart in that position. If he was just on a bridge of a ship, which I don't think he's going to be all the time. This is the thing. I think they're going to have him running around. And it's just, if he was on a ship and he went rogue, which he is going to go rogue anyway, I think he will go against this federation, because this isn't the federation. Let's make it clear.
No, these
are not the ideals of Gene Roddenberry, and anybody that says that they are does not understand Star Trek. They don't, because this is nothing like it. It's I don't know. I'm not going to criticize too harshly because we're only 2 episodes in, but the second one was at breakneck speed. Jason is right. There was a lot of information thrown in. I agree with Ballstrek. This could have been a 4 or 5 episodes alone, and I think that would have been interesting. And you know what? I know Ballstrek says he thinks they might have just cut the wokeness out. I think they might have cut out some of the good stuff as well, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Because it looked like there was interesting threads in there. And this is what I'm saying. It's like Doctor Who with Chris Chibnall. These won't be resolved. They never get resolved. So we'll have to just see.
Again, I tell you, Doctor Who is the scripting for Doctor Who. The Chris Chibnall Doctor Who is so much more coherent and consistent than Alex Kurtzman stuff.
I think it's because Chibs has a clear agenda, so at least we'll give him. He's consistent with that.
Yeah. Everybody loves agendas, don't they?
Oh God! You know what? I would love the agenda to be no freaking agenda.
Yeah, we can't have that anymore.
Free TV anymore. Everything is fit. Even if there is a couple of exceptions to the rule out there, but eventually they will all be woke infested.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. I mean, they're going after Big Finish in the Doctor Who universe now. Apparently, they want to make sure that there's enough women working in the Doctor Who universe. Yeah. Now they're going writers wise, because apparently there's too many male writers and they have to get it 50-50. You know.
Okay. Well, whatever. I guess everything's a quota.
Look how well that went for Doctor Who, because that's exactly what Series 12 has. It actually has 50-50. Both genders are both represented equally. And has the series been a success?
Not really. I think pretty much it's been a utter disaster.
And the point that I made on my video was this: why does it matter who's writing the stories? If they're writing strong female characters, it doesn't matter if the character is written by male or female. If they're good enough to write those characters, they should be allowed. The problem that we do have is that these people don't care about quality. By the way, this person also said that they wanted far less output from Big Finish, because apparently they were putting out too much, and they felt that they would have more quality if they brought less. And if the female writers, I'll send you the stuff later. I don't want to say it over your stream because I don't want to get you into trouble.
Okay, fine. Would you hear?
I'd like to see that too.
No problem. No problem.
I mean, it's true that Big Finish do put out a crazy amount of stuff. I'm so glad.
It's
actually, I'll send you a private messages. Or probably I don't know if these are banned, right? So.
Where do you think that Picard's going?
Oh, well, like I said, I fully expect to see Federation President Donald Trump, and I'm not making that up. I think that's going to be our explanation for the Federation suddenly out of nowhere being xenophobic after 2 centuries of being all-inclusive and not even recognizing race. I don't, to be honest, I don't even know if they knew where they were going with this. I think they were just trying to salvage the mess that was the original Star Trek Picard. A bunch of stuff is going to happen. We're going to learn that the android is still the bestest ever. I honestly, I can't tell where this is going. It's so dull. I don't even be able to pay attention. to it.
Right. It's so hard to keep my eyes open during it. I really think they should have dropped this in one go. This really fits the Netflix binging model much more than anything else, because it's like watching the first 20 minutes of a movie. You know, who knows, you know, where it's going to go or what you're watching.
Yeah, it's if they had competent people working on the show. What's funny, it has something like 21 executive producers, and outside of Patrick Stewart, none of them had any involvement in 2005 and earlier Star Trek. Not one producer. And yet you look at the Orville, they're all former producers.
Right. It is so shows. I mean, like, again, the Orville is about the relationships.
What does that tell you, though, if the people that were behind Star Trek would rather write for the Orville than the actual show that they all have experience writing for? It actually does say a lot. I don't think a lot of these writers will touch this, to be honest with you, because they know it's crap.
No, they wouldn't. There was one executive producer on the first episode of Star Trek Discovery. I can't remember which one. I think it was Joe Mononsky. But he disappears after the second episode. So that's
he was fired, wasn't he? He was the one.
I believe so. Yeah, and he was the only carryover from early Star Trek.
Yeah, he's the only one who could write. Yeah, that's probably why they fired him.
And Brian Fuller, who came up with the original
you could
concept.
tell Brian Fuller's influence, but you can tell he was fired as well.
Yeah, everybody's been fired. Yeah. So it's almost nostalgic when you look at the opening credits of the Orville. I'm like, from Star Trek. Star Trek. Seth MacFarlane also brought Brandon Braga on as his co-executive producer, and a lot of people blame him for the end of Star Trek, but there were many factors. Although he has actually taken responsibility for the problems that real Star Trek had in its later years. So he gained my
right. He really manned up about that. Did you see this comment in the chat?
Didn't he? He kind of burned out, and he was a bit pissed at people, but he did kind of burn out. See, you get to a certain point where you should quit.
Well, no, what they did was they like Brandon and Berman were still executive producers, but they brought in Manny Cotto and he actually, nice guy, follows me on Twitter. They brought him in.
His episodes were great.
Oh yeah, and he was brought in to fix season 3, which is when we saw the shift, and he was co-executive producer, but he was really showrunner for season 4, which is why we saw the new serialized approach, which actually I thought worked brilliantly, that they haven't done since. But if you look at that, like the directors, everybody, it's all Star Trek. So that's why it feels like Star Trek, because it's people that actually know and understand Star Trek that are working on it.
Right. Whereas, they did those series of three parters. They had like the
they did a few of them. There were only, I think, 2 standalone episodes in the final season. Everything else was either a 2-parter or a 3-parter.
When did they do the one with the Iran slave girls? That was awesome.
That was I haven't watched it in a while, but that was season 4.
That's one of my favorite episodes. I really like that one.
Season 4, they did the Vulcan arc. They did the Brent Spiner arc.
Right. Yeah, I loved all of that stuff.
They explained why Klingons look different.
Yeah, they did.
they did a mirror universe arc with a perfect recreation.
Into Mirror Darkly. That's fantastic. And then, which actually ties quite nicely into Enterprise, other than Enterprise. Discovery. Other than the Discovery is awful, and Enterprise was good.
Yeah. Well, Enterprise had its one awful season, which was season 2. But you look at season 2 and season 3, you're watching a completely different show.
Yeah, I would much rather watch season 2 of Enterprise. That I think than Picard as well.
Probably. I don't get the worst crime that season 2 represents is it was boring as heck. But honestly, I'd still rather watch that than what we're getting now because it still feels like Star Trek.
Right. I remember in season 2, it started to look good as soon as when they had that whole Klingon arc coming. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and then the biggest problem was the filler episodes, and season 2, aside from some promising episodes at the beginning, was an entire episode of filler episodes, and a lot of them were just retreading plots that had already been done on TNG. And the show was on a tailspin. I think, and it was season 2 more than anything else, which has caused Enterprise to lose popularity. I think if season 2 had never happened, and season 3 was actually season 2 because they were still doing well in the ratings at the time, I think Enterprise would have had its planned 7-year run. And they actually tried to bring it back. When Netflix started doing originals, they were considering doing a continuation of Enterprise. It would have been a few years later, but picking up the show where it left off, and that never got off the ground. And instead, CBS eventually decided to do their own streaming service, and we got the disaster known as Discovery.
Right. When did they have the ones with the Andorians and the Vulcans? They had the monastery. Was that the second season or the first season?
You mean Star Trek Discovery?
No. The Enterprise. They had the Vulcan monastery, which the blue guys, the Andorians, said was a covert listening post. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
I love the Andorians in Enterprise. Had Shran by playing by what's his name? It was great. It was the great character actor.
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, fantastic.
Actor, Bayun.
Yeah, he's in that documentary, Deep Space Nine, What We Left Behind.
Yeah, well, he's you can pretty much consider him a Star Trek regular because he was a regular on Deep Space Nine, and then he was a regular again on Enterprise.
Right.
But yeah, I tend to think that was season 2. I think outside of season 3 and 4, I haven't watched seasons 1 and 2. I got the Blu-ray set when it came out.
Yeah, me too. But I never watched them. I just wanted to have them.
I watched season 3, but other than watching the first episode, I don't think I've watched a single episode of season 1 or 2. In fact, I don't think I've seen anything from season 1 or 2 since the DVDs came out in 2005. So literally, if I were to watch them now, it would be almost like watching an entirely new TV show.
Worth it.
Yeah. So reliving real Star Trek. And actually, there are still Star Trek Voyager episodes that I have never seen. And I bought those sets back in 2004. It's the filler episode problem where I'll start watching them and then I'll get so bored. And I know I think there's 5 or 6 episodes in the last season that I missed when they were on originally. I think I tried making it through the DVD set and I just got so bored I turned it off. So yeah, so there are Voyager episodes I have never seen.
I think I count Star Trek by pregnancies. I remember my wife was pregnant with our first kid during Deep Space Nine, and I think the second kid was Voyager. It was like the end of Deep Space Nine and then Voyager.
Yeah, DS9 and Voyager overlapped for 5 seasons, and then Voyager was the only Star Trek for 2 years. And it's sad that Deep Space Nine only got half a season as being the only Star Trek show on TV. Other than that, it was always paralleling something else.
Right. But I love Deep Space Nine. That's maybe you've heard this, Ru. I'm not sure. We talked about this before. I think before you came on. Oh no, you were here on from the beginning. I was speaking about earlier with they're talking about bringing Cisco back for season 2 of Picard, but Avery Brooks isn't interested in playing him, so they said they're going to recast Sisko.
Oh my God! If they do,
what sacrilege?
Well, Captain Sisko is my favorite Star Trek captain. If they recast Sisko, they're done. They are so done. Like, I guess
that was a rumor flying around yesterday. Sisko and Guinan with a recast Sisko.
That'd be ridiculous.
I can't see them being that dumb.
Oh, really?
Well, actually, no. Yeah, actually, no. You're right. I could see them being that dumb.
I can't see them not being that dumb.
Yeah, no, I could see it now. Well, like, I guess you could say when they were recasting, young Spock, which Spock has now had 3 actors, and when they were doing the Kelvin-verse movies, which I still don't like, I guess they were. It's almost forgivable then because they were trying to go back to the beginning, and obviously, several members of the original cast were gone by that point, but at least Abrams brought in Leonard Nimoy to kind of tie them together. Right. If you're going to recast somebody where the original actor is still around and the appropriate age to play the age that he would be on this show, that is sacrilegious. I'm like, just don't do Avery Brooks then. You have 3 TV shows that took place during that time period. Bring in somebody else. I'm sure a lot of them would be willing to come in.
Yeah, I tell you, there's 2 things. This live stream has got me 2 things I'm really looking forward to. One, Noel seeing the short treks. I can't wait for you to see them. They're so freaking bad. And Bowles, I can't wait for you to see what they left behind, because you're gonna love that. I'm looking forward to
honestly, video. I didn't even know it existed. Yeah, next paycheck that is getting ordered.
Yeah, it's so freaking good. Actually, I might actually. Yeah, I think because it was on Indiegogo, and I backed it. It took about a year for it to come out.
Mm. Yeah, and then we should do a stream actually, and then I'll let you know what I actually think of these little abominations.
Okay, yeah, I'm really looking forward to you seeing them.
But so far, look, it hasn't been the greatest start for Picard. This could turn out to be something, but look, all I'll say is when I heard that you were doing this, I was originally excited like most people were, and then we start hearing things, and then like everything, they suck the life out of it before it even comes onto the screen. And then when it does come onto the screen, your expectations are not that great anyway. But then when you would see, this is the telling thing. Our expectations weren't actually that great for when this came out. And then
they were.
The first 2 episodes, they were saying they're mediocre. Could you imagine if our expectations were high and we didn't listen to anything that went on behind the scenes, or we knew nothing? We would actually be devastated right now. We'd be sitting here saying, "No, it's an abomination. Why drag Patrick Stewart back after all these years?" These are the kind of things we'd be saying.
Right. Exactly.
Because, as I said, our expectations are so low, like it's still mediocre. But I just don't know. This is the way entertainment's gone. Are we surprised? Are we surprised?
No, we are not. Did you have you seen this comment in the track by Colin P. Smith? Maybe they'll combine the 2 and cast Whoopi Goldberg as a gender swap Sisko.
Oh Jesus!
I think on that note, I have to go to bed and have a quick sob.
Listen, thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming out. Yeah, guys, plug your channels and tell everybody what you're doing this week.
Well, I have obviously the panel with you tomorrow night.
Looking forward to it.
We've got obviously the Doctor Who panel. And obviously, Ballstrek, if you'd like to come on, if you have a bit of time, obviously you don't have to tell me now. I know you're quite busy.
Yeah, but, I'll probably do what I did last week and make an appearance partway through the stream.
Well, there you go, guys. So there's a little surprise for you. We'll have Ballstrek guest starting in the panel. We'll obviously have our other regular panelists, Blue Bonnet Hoovian and Jason Scott. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. So yeah, come and join us if you haven't subscribed already. You'll have a bit of a laugh.
Right. The link to your channel is in the video description. And and if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe. If you hit the like button, that'll be fantastic. And Bowles, what do you have coming up this week? Do you have anything you're going to be tearing apart?
Oh, well, I am taking the rest of the night off because it's been a crappy week, and I cracked the shit out of my car yesterday. So, Noel saw the pictures.
Yeah.
I slid on ice and slammed into the side of my building. So yesterday was just a wonderful day. But I am taking the rest of the night off, and I'm doing nothing. I'm probably going to watch movies or something, and I'm turning off Twitter and social media.
Please do. Get off Twitter. Just get off Twitter, please.
Yeah, I'll do instant messages, but the rest of it, yeah. So we have another brilliant episode tomorrow. So I'll be with Noel. Depending on if we have time, we might be doing a short stream with Gary as well. I know he's quite busy, so we don't know for sure if it's going to happen tomorrow. I will be doing my episode review, which will be up at some point next week. The GOAT is collecting Twitter comments, so he is going to trigger the living hell out of people very shortly. As soon as I can get that together, I'm trying to finish my actual video on Picard, which will be up sometime soon. And even though I don't do every Woke Batman episode anymore, I'm going to try and do the occasional one. So I'm going to try and do a new Woke Batman video because people apparently like my, they're not even reviews, they're just episode riffs. But that will hopefully be coming out at some point within the next week.
They are so much better than the episodes you're reviewing.
I watch Batwoman and I look forward to those videos, man.
Yeah, exactly. The only trouble is, I watched it so I can appreciate the videos.
Yeah.
So what sucks is I'd love to do every episode because the show is so over the top. This is actually the most fun I've had making videos, but between doing other videos and working well over 40 hours a week, the Woke Batman videos, because of the way I do them, take roughly about 12 hours to put together. And the option was dropping the quality, which I'm not going to do, or just doing the occasional episodes. So I might do some of the more ridiculous episodes. So I might do maybe every 4th or 5th episode. They're all ridiculous, so you can just
they're all
random.
Yeah, everybody loves the GOAT in the comments, by the way. They can't wait.
Oh, hell, Professor Dinkles.
Yes.
Yeah, Professor Dinkles has been away for a while. And this will be the first time he's appeared since I replaced my computer. And it was a pain in the ass to get the pitch shifter modulation settings right the first time. So that's going to be fun.
Okay.
Is making a comeback, guys. The GOAT is making a comeback. Yes.
Well, on that note, we have something to look forward to in life. At least.
And listen, of course, everybody will be reviewing this. All 3 channels here will be reviewing Doctor Who as well. I mean, it's...
Oh, yes. That's our bread and butter right now.
I mean, right now, do you know what? I want to just say this because you brought up at the start of the stream about all the stuff that's been going on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. But I want to say something. No matter all that stuff that's happening right now, and some of it is vile, right? But you know what? Right now, I'm actually having the best time on YouTube doing my videos and my panels because I've got to meet so many great people with the same opinions as well. And we don't always agree as well, which is the thing. But we get on. So, we might be all going through, we're all going through a bit of a shit time with all this crap. But all I just want to say is, it's easier when you have friends like yours. So, all I say,
we're glad to be here for you guys.
You are all lovely people. Right, I'm going to shut up now because he wants to end the stream.
Yeah, I was just going to second that. But yeah, that's the one good thing. I've made so many friends over the past couple years, massive channels, small channels. I don't really care what size the channel is. I just like having conversations with interesting people. And we'll be having those, I know, quite often for a while.
Yes.
And it was a pleasure being on with both of you fine gentlemen, and it was a pleasure being on with Jason again earlier, and I know we will be talking again very soon.
We will. Can't look forward. I mean, I look forward to it. See, the show has made me so stupid that the words don't come out properly anymore. And with that note, I'm just going to shut up now.
Okay, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and I guess we'll be seeing you all at some point in the future, probably tomorrow night we're on.
Yeah.
And again, like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to, if you're not subscribed to all the channels, please subscribe. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.